Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back, everyone. We're here today with our Friday review, my favorite way to end the week on the Cabral Concept before we get to our weekend edition of the show, which is answering our community's questions. Today, I've got some fun product reviews for you. Of course, we have our herb of the week. I'll be bringing you 2 research studies as well. So those research studies, all things that I love to look at. It's kind of like the future of health and medicine in general. And then a little bit about lifestyle and how just small changes in your daily habits can lead to huge health changes in the future, for the better in this case. We'll also be going over our podcast recap of the week. And today we are going to start, as we always do, with the updates from just what's going on in the life of the practice, Equal Life, our virtual-based practice, but also all things IHP and what's going on with my big move to Maine for the summer. So what I want to share with you is this, is kind of, I look at this as the official start to summer. I mean, I know that summer has its own chronological day in the overall 12-month calendar, but I look at it as, okay, we have Memorial Day. A lot of people consider that the unofficial start. Not me, only because since I live in New England and I moved here and been here basically my entire life, it's not very warm, Memorial Day weekend. It's starting to feel a little bit more like spring, but certainly not summer. I guess it depends on, where you live. And of course, all of our friends in New Zealand and Australia, it's certainly not your summer right now. But for me, I look at it as, all right, I have 8 weeks, like 8 weeks to enjoy here in New England, summertime. And so the 4th of July coming up this weekend is a special time for myself, my family. We typically have people up for the weekend and really just enjoying spending time together. Nothing fancy, going to the beach, barbecuing like a lot of other people. But it's just such a beautiful time. It's a great time. I truly enjoy it, really love it. Love getting all of the cousins together as well, my nieces, my nephews, and my 2 daughters, of course, as well. So that's what it's all about. I'm here in Maine for the next, like I said, about 8 weeks. Excited for that time. I have my main bunker, as I call it, my office up here in a nice mill, and this is where I am for my days. And then I get to spend a lot of time with my 2 daughters and my wife and doing all sorts of fun things where I get to take them on all sorts of hikes. I look up different trails in Maine. We drive over the trails. We pack a backpack and we're out for like half a day or so. So a lot of fun things. And I plan to do much more of that this summer as well. Trying to cut down my travel time to an absolute minimum. I have only 1 trip that I already have scheduled. So that'll be a quick trip and then back to see the family. So that is that. And again, hopefully if you are enjoying the 4th this coming weekend, that you enjoy a nice, safe, and healthy holiday for you and your family. What is going on with IHP? Well, this is the last weekend to be part of our June group of new members before we get into July. Absolutely take advantage of the bonus offers for this month. Only 100 people are ever joining the IHP community each and every month, so we keep it nice and tight knit, beautiful, beautiful community, and just amazing people that help there. And so we've, a good dozen people on our team now that are there just there to make sure that you're successful. And that's what it's all about. There's no recurring monthly fees. It's just about putting a health coach in every home. That's our motto. That's what we want to do. If you're even interested in learning how to heal yourself and then go on to use that knowledge to help others, whether it's part-time, full-time, or even as a hobby, we would love to share with you how we can help you do that in a very systematic fashion that's not going to be like going back and taking on another full-time job. We ask for 30 minutes a day, Monday through Friday, or a 2.5-hour block once a week, where we can get you the information that you need, and then you can have lifetime access to this material as of the recording of this show. So check it out at integrativehealthpractitioner.org. All right. So that is that. What's going on at Equilife? Well, there's always a lot going on. But what I want to share with you is this week, we love being able to bring you some of my favorite products. And one of those is CBD gummies. So CBD gummies are a fun way and delicious way in order to be able to get more cannabinoids into your body. Why would you want more cannabinoids in your body? That's a good question. They help with anxiety. They help with sleep. They help with stress. They can help balance healthy levels of inflammation and so much more. So that is one of the reasons why, again, these are completely natural. They are from nature. We do not add any artificial flavors or any artificial colors. To my knowledge, Equilife, or this is under Equilibrium CBD, is the only company that I know of that is able to create gummies without any artificial color or any artificial flavors. And I shouldn't say that. We're not the only company that can do it. We are the only company that I know that does it. Every other company, you will see that there are dyes in their gummies and there are artificial flavors. We do not do that. So check it out. And again, you can get a free bottle. So right now on all qualifying orders at stevencabral.com/shop, that'll take you over to Equilife. You'll be able to get a free bottle on us of full spectrum organic CBD in gummy-based form with a delicious watermelon flavor. All right, check that out. Now, podcast recap of the week before we get into our product review, which I'm holding right here. If you're watching this on video, fantastic. If you're not, we would love you to subscribe to the podcast, whether it's on iTunes or Audible now or any of the players would be great. But of course, over on YouTube, if you like watching videos of the show, head on over to YouTube and just type in my name, Steven Cabral, Steven with a PH. Subscribe to the show. Comment on the show. We answer all of your questions. We love getting your comments. And again, thank you for those as well. For your reviews and subscribes, they mean a lot to us. All right, podcast recap of the week. Monday's show was how to rediscover you. Again, I love being able to really tap into our deepest desires and wants and reaching our fullest potential in life and living a life of no regrets. So I talk about that on episode 2, 3, 4. So just go to stevencabral.com/podcasts. You'll be able to easily just look at these shows and find them and click on them and listen. The next one, 2335, was on glyphosate. This was a public health warning. Believe me, not enough people are talking about this. People are like, oh, it's more expensive to buy organic. And, is it really any different? Trust me, after listening to this show, you will understand why and what you can do about it. On Wednesday's show, 2336, was talking about what happens if you get too much REM sleep, because I do a lot of sleep tracking. I try to do a lot of sleep education, and I share with people what it means if you get too much REM sleep, like what is actually going on in your brain, why that happens. Because remember, there's always a reason why. And then yesterday's show was all about poor drainage and detox. So you definitely want to check that one out as well. And that was dedicated. So basically in dedication to our overall last week's detox week, which I always find remarkable. I mean, I've done this now so many times. I don't know if it's 30 times now or what, a functional medicine detox. And I do the 7-day detoxes now that I've done my big 21s. And again, every time I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I could use it. I do it. And I always feel just, again, like remarkably better by day 5. So if you've never done a functional medicine detox, I can't recommend just checking out more about what it's just all about. And you can go to stevencabral.com/detox for that. All right, let's get into our product review of the week. This is actually a product that someone recommended to me. So they know that I'm not a big alcohol consumer in general, and that I stay away from actually a lot of wines just because my background or inside of my genes, although it's not an issue anymore, but it's still in my genetics, is that I do not do well with breaking down sulfur inside of my body. I'll do a whole podcast on that. I'll talk about a low sulfur diet, these types of things that I don't even follow anymore because, again, my body is balanced. However, for sure, I could fill up my rain barrel and sulfur and histamines become a big issue for me. So I'm not someone that consumes a lot of wine in general. I know a lot of people enjoy wines, and it's not that I don't. It's not that I don't enjoy a glass of wine with a meal out with friends, but at the same time, I'm cognizant of how my body doesn't do well with these sulfites in wine or the histamine-based reactions. Again, if I have a glass of wine, I don't have any reaction, but I know that if I were to continue to do that, it would fill up that rain barrel because inside of my genes, I simply don't break it down as well. Now, could I use things like, and do I use things like Hispro and vitamin C to help with these things? I absolutely do. But at the same time, again, I'm not looking at wine as its potential health benefit. That's not why I would drink a glass of wine. What I want to share with people is that if you're like me, there are all sorts of other people like us as well. And if you don't do well with wine because you might get flushing or itchy eyes, itchy skin rash, migraines, and all sorts of other reasons, even white wine as well, which has sulfites in it, they make a product that is not just an aerator. So I'm going to hold this up. It's by a company called Ullo, I believe is how you pronounce that. I'm not exactly sure that this is how you pronounce it, but I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it with the little accent mark above that. The diuresis, I believe it's called. And so when I look at a product like this, I was like, oh, this just aerates the wine, allowing more oxygen flow in. So again, someone sent this to me to check out and maybe do a product review on. And like I always say, if it's something interesting to me and I think it would help our community, I absolutely do it. So again, even if you're not watching this on video, this looks like an aerator, and that is one part of it. But what it does is it contains their technology. It's actually at least, I wouldn't say it's patented, but at least trademarked, called a selective sulfate filter. So what it does is the wine is traveling through this filter. It is actually catching the sediment and sulfites. Now, why would sulfites be added to wine? Well, it's a preservative. So the sulfites give off sulfur dioxide, which it does not allow the wine or it to break down anymore. And the thing is, you don't need that as part of your wine. It's not a natural part of wine at all. And yes, there's sulfur in certain foods. There's no doubt about it, but not in this particular way. So I'll actually unbox it for you. I haven't done this yet. I haven't tried it, but I am going to try it, and I will probably try it over this weekend. So maybe I'll do a little follow-up on this as well. I'll certainly do it. I always do the follow-ups on Instagram. So, beautiful packaging right here. And you'll see that it looks like a cup. So I'm holding this right here. It has essentially like a plastic bottom to it, and it's going to swirl around into a vortex, and then it's going to catch in its filter at least as many as it can, all of the different sulfates and different issues which may cause histamine reactions and other issues. Now, I don't think that it's going to be totally free of that, but for sure, this is going to do a better job than not. So I love being able to bring these things to you to better purify your wine, to also add oxygen to it if you choose to through that aerating-based process, and to remove those artificial preservatives, which are sulfates. And by the way, this particular one, if you don't want to aerate your wine, because some people don't, you can actually turn that off. So as aerate and then non-aerate, you can see that right there. And you can just twist it to turn off the aeration or to put it back on. And because you might not want to aerate the wine if you're pouring it all out, you may actually just want to aerate a glass at a time to bring a little bit more oxygen back in. So, it's pretty interesting in my opinion, because it's bringing the wine back to more of what I would call a natural state without any of those food preservatives. So again, if you're someone that deals with histamine issues or flushing or nasal congestion or itchy eyes, or again, my eyes are my Achilles heel, that's for sure. So, for me, I would get itchy eyes if my histamines start to get a little bit too high. So I'm going to link it up right here. There, you can go to their website. You can go to Amazon. I'm going to link up the link that I actually use at StephenCabral.com/2338. And that's where all of today's show notes, research links, etc. are. All right. Now for our product review of the week, we are talking about Yarrow. You've heard me talk about Yarrow maybe just a few times in the past, but almost nobody talks about the herb Yarrow. And that is because it hasn't been as much in the news or hasn't been studied as much. But what I will tell you is this: it's been used for thousands of years. It actually, I believe it's got its name, its genus, from the word Achillea, from Achilles, which means a healer of wounds. So one of the first things that it was used for many years ago, so millennia ago, in Greece, was for actually healing soldiers' wounds. And that was really interesting. But again, there's so many species of Yarrow and just not enough studies done. But I can tell you this: we kind of call it emerging science on these herbs. So the herbs work no matter what, right? So we know the herbs are there. We know they work. We know that herbs serve as medicine, so we don't need to use them all the time. That's for sure. But when you need them, you need them. So I'll tell you why we use Yarrow in my practice in just a moment. But so we'll go to that in a moment. But right now, there's emerging research. That means there is research on it right now as a digestive aid. Okay. So helping with digestion, you can use Yarrow tea if you'd like. I prefer ginger tea for digestion, but Yarrow tea can be fine. May help with wound healing. It helps as almost like an adaptogen for inflammation. So it helps balance healthy levels of inflammation, has a lot of antioxidants, so it will squelch free radical-based issues. Another one is because of its healthy levels of inflammation balancing, as well as its digestive properties, people will often use it again as a tea or even a capsule or a tincture for digestive issues like irritable bowel syndrome. Again, not providing any medical treatment plans, medical cures, or medical diagnosis, but the research does indicate that. Other people, which I don't know as many because I think that there are probably better products, but some people are using it for depression and anxiety. Definitely there's about a half dozen studies showing some good validity there. Others with brain injuries, so like TBIs or maybe even Alzheimer's, dementia, powerful antioxidants, good blood flow, healthy levels of, again, balancing inflammation. So how do we use it in our practice? Like, why would I want to bring this to you? So the thing about Yarrow, and the reason why I've been using it for a while, is I use it as not the only thing. So again, like people like to compare natural medicine to conventional medicine, just like, oh, what's the thing for cholesterol? What's the thing for this? This not one thing. So what you want to look at is synergies. So we use Yarrow as part of maybe a dozen different herbs and nutrients in our mold protocol. So we use Yarrow as one herb in that because Yarrow is an antifungal. It is an antibacterial. So when you know that it has these properties and you know that mold, yeast, fungus are all part of the same essentially family, it can be exceptional at actually helping to reduce mold and mycotoxins in the body. So I'm a big fan of it. I've been using it for many, many years. You could use it even as essential oil if you chose to topically as well. So I will link up a couple of research studies on that at stephencabral.com/2338. All right, now we're on to our research of the week, and our research of the week are two fun ones I have for you. Couldn't help but bring one of the fitness ones back. And the reason is that a lot of people get so overwhelmed with having to do so much in terms of fitness when I say you can honestly do a little and reap so many benefits. And what's a little? I'm talking about 10 to 20 minutes a day. Like I'm talking about not even every day, 10 to 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Would I love you to do 20 to 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week? Of course I would. Does 10 minutes matter? 100%. Like you can get exceptional results, at least 50% of the results in 10 minutes. So it really takes away the excuse of time. Like, I don't have the time. Again, I know nobody has the time. I totally get it, but we need to make the time for you. And if not for you, then for others. Because listen, I've done so many research studies on this, but again, let me just bring you this one, and hopefully this one hits home. 10 minutes of exercise helps you live longer. A recent study of over 100,000 people, it shows that, let me give you the exact quote. So, more than 100,000 lives could be saved by adults over the age of 40 if they just added in 10 minutes of moderate to vigorous activity to their daily routines. Even more lives would be saved if they increased their activity by 20 to 30 minutes daily. Research shows that even a very small amount of moderate to vigorous exercise can have a big impact on health. Okay, so over 100,000 lives would be saved. Over 5,000 adults, this was studied on by the National Cancer Institute and published in JAMA Internal Medicine. And the thing is, again, we're not talking about a lot and we're not talking about anything crazy. Like it doesn't have to be any wild workouts. Inside of the iBone app right now, you can literally get 5 to 10 minute Tabata-based workouts. You can get body weight workouts. You can just do something. You can do bike intervals. You can do anything that gets that heart rate pumping for 10 minutes most days of the week. And if you do that, you think like, oh, it's only 10 minutes. But the studies are showing that that is enough to push you over the risk factor ledge of, well, there's heart disease, there's blood pressure risk, there's blood sugar risk, and there's cancer risk, right? And they really all go together. They really do. And so if we're able to get just 10 minutes of exercise in, and I implore you to really do that, and family members as well. All right, the other one I want to give you now, this is more like the future of medicine. I've been talking about this for a while. I've read so much science on this, but here's the thing. So I've read the science on how they're essentially, it's amazing, but they're fusing the blood from older rats to younger rats. And what they're essentially having them do is have the younger rats' blood flow through the older adults. And what they're showing is remarkable rejuvenation. Remarkable rejuvenation. Now, again, ethics starts to come into this, and I understand that, and I totally get it. But my job is just to be unbiased and let you decide if this is ethical, moral, or the right thing to do. Again, that's not my place. Like, a lot of people think that I shouldn't say a lot of people. There's always like the 0.001%. I have no agenda, like, at all. My job is to help people. That's it. Like, that is I didn't have to take an oath for that. That's my mission. Like, this is what I'm all about. And I try to just bring you all of the things that we should also look forward to, because that was for overall longevity. This one is for Alzheimer's, dementia, and cognitive issues. This is a little bit different. So what they did, this was also done in mice, because of course it always starts with mice first. So they actually took athletic mice that they would have, spinning around the wheel. They're younger, they're in good shape, they're healthy. What they did was they actually extracted blood from those mice. Then they injected it. So they didn't do a whole IV infusion. They injected it into mice with brain-based issues, and they were actually able to see an improvement in cognitive function, learning, memory among the sedentary mice. So, this could lead to bigger and better studies with dementia, Alzheimer patients right now. And so that's why I think it's something to look at. And I really do. I think it's something to study, because if we can take healthy blood and infuse that into people that are not healthy, well, what could that do? Now, there might be repercussions, no doubt about it, because you're putting someone else's blood in another individual. But I think that there's something there. I've seen it for too long now. I've seen it now for almost 20 years, these different science-based research studies taking place. So again, my goal is for you to do this. Keep yourself healthy for the next 10 to 20 years, okay? Keep yourself healthy for the next 10 years minimum. If you do that, you are going to see these massive scientific breakthroughs that we combine the best of modern, like, scientific research and technology with all of the ancient-based wisdom. Now, if we do that, we get the best of all worlds. Hopefully today's show was helpful. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I'll be back tomorrow with our Cabral House Calls. Take care, everyone. Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing, and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now, at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or a lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests, or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.